Hey, vegan freaks. This is like the fourth time I've tried to do the intro for the show. And, I just keep fucking it up. So I'm just going to try it like this. Today on the show, we're going to talk about the Dalai Lama. We've got a couple good voicemails. And that's about all we have. We don't really have a ton. That's where we're at right now. It's the 1st of June. In one of these I did before, I said it was 1st of June 2006. But it's not 2006. It's 2007. I fucked this up repeatedly. I'm tired of trying to make it sound good. It's Vegan Freak Radio number 73. Here it comes. Right at you. Into your ears.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
It's Jenna.
And Bob.
Maybe we really are protein deficient.
I think I am. I don't know what is going on. We tried to do this show just a few moments ago, and wow, what a train wreck in progress. But you don't tune into our show to hear us talk about how we fuck up and then redo it, do you?
No, they don't.
No, you don't. 70,000 downloads this month. Last month. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's
70,000 downloads. So I want to thank everybody out there for listening. That was our biggest month ever. 70,000 downloads for the show. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
So thank you for that. But before we get into the heart of the show here, I just wanted to say very briefly, by way of shameless self-promotion, that Dino's book is available now and shipping. If you go to our site, tofuhoundpress.com, and order it, it will ship next Friday. We ship once a week because that's what we do. Also, a bunch of you have written to us and asked, and you wanted t-shirts. We've got them. Vegan Freak t-shirts in all different sizes, colors, shapes, etc. Well,
yep.
No, not different colors, but
all
different sizes and styles.
Stock. We only do black t-shirts.
We only do
that's the way we are.
I only wear black t-shirts, so it's fine. I don't really see the reason to wear anything else but black t-shirts. In fact, one day when I was teaching last year, I wore a red t-shirt to class. And my students were like, dude, you're not wearing a black t-shirt. So I thought that's pretty cool. Anyway, those of you who have listened to the show know that a couple weeks ago we did a little rant about the Dalai Lama consuming veal and other meat products. And we had some very interesting feedback on that. And I think what we'll do is begin with some of the voicemails.
Okay.
We had interesting voicemails from someone named Pedro. Pedro left us a couple of voicemails. Here's one. Be ready for it. It's interesting.
If I was a Dalai Lama, I'd be a member of the neo-Nazi lowriders, and I'd eat babies.
Well, it's a possibility.
Okay, so Pedro goes through and does he does one of these things for like 30 seconds. So we'll fade that into background while he does that, and we'll start playing his next voicemail.
Okay.
See, he's still going. Still going.
Maybe we should try to re-educate the Dalai Lama.
Maybe we should. Well, there you go. And I think he's right. We should try to re-educate the Dalai Lama. And I'll just fade that out on him.
But there's like a cool little techno beat at the end.
Okay, anyway, so there we go. And re-educating the Dalai Lama, actually, interestingly, though not explicitly the topic of the two emails that we received, kind of could be looked at in that way.
Yeah. A nice compliment. They're very thoughtful emails.
Extremely thoughtful
Nice
emails.
compliment to our little rant the other day.
I mean, the rant was very visceral, right? It
Well,
was just
yeah.
coming out of that little bitter place that I used to rant.
Right, like how can you pretend to preach compassion and eat meat?
There you go.
Okay.
So we received 2 emails about this, both of which were very thoughtful and which take on the question of the Dalai Lama consuming meat from the perspective of, I want to call it doctrine, but that's not right. Perspective, Buddhist perspective, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Okay, so should we start with this one from Ryan?
Over to you, Jenna.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Bob. Anyway, he says, "Hi guys, this morning I was listening to the show where you discussed the article about veal being made for the Dalai Lama. Naturally, it pissed me off as well, and I thought I'd send along some thoughts on it. So there are a number of things going on here. First and foremost is that the Dalai Lama is Tibetan Buddhist. As Brad Warner, Soto Zen priest and former bassist from Ohio punk band Zero Defects, pointed out in a recent interview I did with him that Tibetan Buddhists are, quote, almost aggressive about the fact that they do eat meat, unquote. The other thing going on here is that Buddhists seem to be able to find any excuse they can to justify their meat eating. Some will say that Buddha begged for food and taught his followers that they shouldn't kill an animal for food. If it's given to them, it's okay. Others will claim that vegetarianism is the middle way, but veganism is too extreme. I'll be writing an article about this for Herbivore soon. Others will advocate welfarist positions and feel okay about compassionate or humane meat.
Happy meat!
Jesus, that was loud.
I was very happy.
Happy meat!
The problem is that if you look deeply at the heart of what Buddhism is, there's no justification for eating meat. It's about recognizing suffering and desire within ourselves and others, which can't be logically done when consuming meat. I agree. Makes sense. The other thing worth noting is that Buddha himself encouraged individual thought and didn't want followers to take his word as literal scripture. I can't say the word literal. Literal. Okay. I think he'd be appalled to find out people were justifying their eating of meat as something he may or may not have said or done. Just like many other religions, and perhaps more so, Buddhism's core theme promotes compassion for others, but followers can and do change the message as they see fit. And then he lists 2 good books on the subject of animal rights in Buddhism, The Great Compassion, Buddhism and Animal Rights by Norm Phelps, and The Food of Badavistas?
Bada bing.
Bada bing. Buddhist Teachings on Abstaining from Meat by someone who has an even harder name to say.
Wow.
And I won't even try to pronounce it, but...
The Food of Bodhisattvas.
Bodhisattvas, okay.
Bodhisattvas, Buddhist Teachings on Abstaining from... Oh boy, Shabkar. Tsogdruk. Sagdruk? Rangdrol.
I don't know.
I'm guessing.
It needs more vowels.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
So there you go.
And then a couple of good web resources, so we can probably put those in the show notes if you're interested.
Jenna will put those in the show notes.
Okay.
Because if I say I will forget.
All right.
Another email goes along the similar lines. This one's kind of long, but actually it's really good, and it lays out, I think, in really careful and thoughtful ways, kind of the idea. So I'm going to go through and read the whole thing, and you're going to have to bear with me, but that's the way it goes. And on top of it all, I have difficulty reading. Lucky you. Okay. Anyway, this is from Joshua, and Joshua begins by thanking us for doing what we do because he's a professional dog walker, and he says that along with podcasts make his job easier, and along with Democracy Now! And a few BBC programs, he has ours in his top 5 regular rotation.
Cool.
So thank you for that. He says, as a 13-year vegan and someone who's had an up and down, mostly up the last few years, relationship with the Dharma, the teachings of the historical Buddha, for as long, if not longer, I found myself cracking up at the Dalai Lama rant. For starters, I share your frustration with the chubby the chubby people seem to have for the Dalai Lama here in the U.S. Some of that stems from my general frustration with the Orientalist love fest Americans, and to a lesser extent Europeans, have with all things perceived to be, quote, Eastern and exotic. In most cases, one is hard-pressed not to read some variation on slumming it in all of this. I suppose I don't need to note the naked racism therein. But really, the vast majority of my frustration with Lamaphiles and what some of us refer to as the SUV set of the Western Buddhist world is a profound departure much of this constitutes from the actual Dharma. And when I say that, I'm not taking aim at the cheap and shallow sort of analysis of excess and lifestyleism being a contradiction and yada yada. That's kid stuff. I'm talking about the actual nuances and gifts of the practice, most of which are utterly consistent with your frustration, in fact. And these things are not obscure in the teachings. There's a rather central sutra that, as far as I'm aware, is read in almost all schools of Buddhist practice called the Kalama Sutra. It refers to what Buddha advised to a community of people known as the Kalamas. I assume I'm saying that correctly. If not, And the central bit of it is translated roughly so. It is proper for you, Kalamas, to doubt, to be uncertain. Uncertainty has risen in you about what is doubtful. Come, Kalamas, do not go upon what has been acquired by repeated hearing, nor upon tradition, nor upon rumor, nor upon what is in a scripture, nor upon surmise, nor upon an axiom, nor upon specious reasoning, nor upon a bias towards a notion that has been pondered over, nor upon another seeming ability, nor upon the consideration, the monk is our teacher. Kalamas, when you yourselves know these things are bad, these things are blamable, these things are censured by the wise, undertaken and observed, these things lead to harm and ill. Abandon them. Sound familiar? Once more is that this sentiment runs through the bulk of the Pali Canon, the teachings given during the Buddha's life. It's hard to miss, in fact. Thus, people serious about the path have an obligation, if not to call him out directly, to at the very least question, eschew, and critique the Dalai Lama's shit on his heterosexism, his love fest with Bush, which I did not know about. With Bush? Man, that's even worse. Had I known that would have added to the rant.
Oh, yeah.
His glaring failures with regard to animal suffering, etc. Without a doubt, this is consistent with your outrage about the Dalai Lama's neglect of animal suffering. What's more, lay people practicing the Dharma take what's called the 5 precepts, 2 of which, as far as I've understood them, demand veganism. To refrain from harming or killing living beings, and to refrain from taking what is not freely given. Slice it any way you like, fully nothing about animal-based diets is consistent with those precepts. Granted, monks undertake a number of other precepts, including not refusing any alms, food, etc., given to them, even if it's meat. In many Asian countries, this involves a tradition of people in the community supporting the Sangha, community of monks, by sharing what they have with them. This is what the Dalai Lama is referring to when he says he eats animals that were not specifically killed for him. The animal was killed for lay people who shared it with him, and as a monk, he is forbidden from refusing what is offered him. This does not necessarily mean he has to eat it, but given the poverty that was frequently plagued typical Buddhist countries, there may not have always been much else to eat. The Buddha himself actually died from eating tainted pork. Clearly, this sort of scarcity is not operative in the Dalai Lama's situation. In fact, to get really picky, given the central anti-metaphysical rejection of the notion of a discernible, isolated self, in the Cartesian sense, and the principle of codependent origination central to the Dharma, the world itself and the objects within it are experienced through our senses and produce the responses that accumulate and evolve into what we think of as a stable self. If you're jaded about Eastern philosophy, you can find this running through Derrida, Foucault, Deleuze, Lyotard, and to some extent the empiricism of early anarchists like Bakunin. It's also difficult to take any teacher seriously who argues a notion of reincarnation that involves the transmigration of a permanent stable personality /self/soul, much less a man who derived his very status and standing from being the result of such a dubious narrative. I couldn't agree more. Without taking up too much space, concepts like reincarnation and karma are not the convoluted nonsense that they've been spun to be over the centuries and can be described in pretty basic ecological, physical science. Matter isn't created or destroyed, just transformed. And common sense. If you act, speak in shitty ways, you usually invite drama, without all the metaphysical crap. And I've even seen self-styled, quote, punk and, quote, radical Buddhist teachers argue that this bogus transmigration crap, along with an equally warped notion of karma, offers some solace/explanation for the worst cases of child sexual abuse. Yeah, not even kidding. Apparently there's comfort for some people in the idea that 3-year-old rape survivors, quote, asked for it in a past life. Fuck that. I agree.
Fucked up, yeah.
This is exactly what the Buddha was saying to the Kalama's kids. Don't take the batteries out of your bullshit detectors. Mindfulness, the foundation of the Dharma, demands that much of us. The metaphysical dimensions one locates in Tibetan, Chinese, and other forms of Buddhism are reflections of the cultures that had evolved in those places by the time the Dharma took root there. Fortunately, the Dharma is a practice that values a proliferation of difference. Perhaps it's worth considering the number of cultural traditions pre-existed the Dharma here in the U.S., namely a skepticism toward authority and at least a vague tendency toward self-determination. We'll do well not to jettison them, especially those of us on the path. Love and struggle. And in the PS, he thanks me for mentioning Mary Bookchin's works. He said he studied under Mary Bookchin at the Institute for Social Ecology.
Very cool.
And Joshua, if you like the fact that I mentioned Bookchin on the show, you may in fact enjoy the book that I'm running right now, which relies heavily upon Bookchin, though in a way I suspect Bookchin may have not liked. I'm kind of doing a Bookchin reading of Bookchin. But anyway, that's that. So both very good points about this, taking kind of a Buddhist perspective and critiquing the Dalai Lama from that perspective, which I think is so valuable.
Definitely.
And much more intelligent than the knuckleheaded ranting or raving that we did.
Yeah.
But, I am always amazed with the way what he calls the SUV, what Joshua calls the SUV set is so enamored with him.
Yeah, they just accept everything that he says and does without question, which seems to go against exactly what Buddhism teaches you, according to that email.
Yep.
So,
and I did read some of these texts, Buddhist texts and things, but man, it was in college and it was like eons ago.
mm-hmm.
And
he won't fart you.
It was, and drugs are bad. Don't ever do drugs. And my mind isn't what it once was. Forgetfulness? What do you mean?
Huh?
Not me. No, I mean, I was a philosophy major and had to take one. I was in a philosophy department that was very heavy on Western philosophy. And I had to take one non-Western philosophy course, and I took Asian philosophy.
Yep.
So there you go. That was way back when. Way back when I was a kid. Has anyone, for those of you North American listeners, well, U.S. listeners really, if you heard this thing they have on NPR, like the Story Corps, or whatever it's called, like where these people go to these different things and they sit down in this little booth that they have this little trailer where you park it in a place and people walk in and tell stories about their lives. I've heard a bunch of them, and they're all old people.
Yeah.
Like, old people are great. I'm not trying to be ageist or anything like that, but it's all like
Really old people.
like, well, I remember it was the Depression. They all begin that way, and it's like, what? Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, StoryCorps, lovely stuff. Let's move on.
Okay.
So enough with the Dalai Lama, and we will put those in the show notes. We've got a bunch of voicemails to get through. We promised you 2 shows this week. We're on it.
Right.
And
so we didn't do any last time, so we're going to do a lot of voicemails this time, but unfortunately we got so many of them that we can't do them all this time.
Yeah, I have specific messages here for 3 people, 3 or 4 people. Nathan from, Tennessee, somewhere in the Bible Belt. Nathan from somewhere. We got your voicemails. You sent 2, but you're really tough. Like, I tried really hard to clean them up and make them sound good, but I can't make them sound in a way that anyone can really hear what you're saying. So if you could try again, that would be thoughtful, useful. Call our voicemail line, because you left on my Chingo, but there's like a lot of static in the background, I think from your computer fan or something. So we can't really hear you. Long Distance Vegan told a very compelling story that we will read next time. Well, not read, play next time on the show. Danny left us a voicemail. We'll get on the show next time. And there was another voicemail too, a long one from someone that I was going to play 2 weeks ago and didn't get to yet, and I forget. I didn't write the name down. So we'll get to them.
Yep.
I want to say again too that it helps us if these things are generally like under 2 minutes. So we can play more.
Easy enough on the voicemail line because it cuts you off at 2 minutes.
That's true.
So.
The MyChingo doesn't necessarily cut you off at 2 minutes. So under 2 minutes is usually useful. 3 is cool. But if you go much over, it's got to be really compelling. So, and so this one from Long Distance Vegan is quite compelling. But let's move into the voicemails for this week. Should I play a little?
Yes, play the ditty.
Time once again for some vegan freak voicemail. Maybe we'll hear from a hot chick
or a choice male.
Callers make us happy and help us keep our sanity, even if all they wanna do is fucking complain about the shitload of profanity.
Do you want to go heavy first or light first?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe heavy first.
Okay. Here's a MyChingo from Amber, and I'm probably going to stop. It's kind of long, but I'm going to probably stop it partway through and we can talk about it, okay?
Okay.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. This is Amber again. And I'm here to, I guess, leave you a comment on a less happy and giggly note. I just recently listened to one of your podcasts, and you mentioned the video Earthlings. And Jenna, you mentioned that you couldn't even watch past the first section. And you both said that it was a great video, which I agree with you. But honestly, I could not even believe what I was seeing. I couldn't even see the screen through the tears that were just coming from my face, and I was trying to watch the whole time because I felt like this is happening, and not watching won't deny that it's not happening. And I'm vegan, and I have been vegetarian, so I've never denied that it was happening, but I've never really seen it to that extent that they showed in this video. And it really, it really bothered me. I just finished it, and I'm like shaking, and I feel like nauseous, and I want to be a surgeon. That's what I'm going to college in September, and I'm studying pre-med in biology, and I want to be a surgeon, but I don't think that I can do that if it means dissecting animals that were on their way to the slaughterhouse, or, you know, when pigs get, like, ripped from their mothers on the way to the slaughterhouse and we dissect them, or cats that were euthanized because there were just too many of them. I want to save people, but how many human lives do you have to save to make up for one animal life? I don't know. To tell you the truth, I've done my research in the past, 4 years that I've been not eating meat, and I didn't know a lot of the stuff that they showed in that video existed. And I knew most of it, but seeing it is just a totally different experience. And it makes me disgusted to live on Earth in this world. It makes me absolutely disgusted. And I wish I could say, like, oh, I'll just flee to, you know, insert other world here, but
Veganlandia.
Obviously that's very unrealistic. You can't go anywhere else. You're stuck here in this horrible world where the Holocaust is basically happening every single day, every minute of every day, to these poor animals who haven't done anything. It's just, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I don't even think I can even defend myself to people who eat meat anymore. I partially kept watching this movie because I knew in the back of my mind that when people ask me, you know, why don't you eat meat? And I tell them it's not good enough, and they just laugh and they go, well, it's really good. Even if I describe to them the torture that these animals go through, they'll just laugh and say, well, you know, veal is really good, even though it's baby cows who don't move for all 4 months of their lives. I can't stand the ignorance of people anymore. I wish every person would watch this video. I've never even heard of it, and it was out in 2003. So, I wish it was more popular so that more people will watch it, because if everyone watches this video, then at least half of them who are not gonna laugh and say, oh, well, I still eat veal, will be affected by it. And maybe they'll at least cut down.
Okay, I think we can probably stop it there. And
Okay.
yeah, man, I feel your pain.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched the movie more than once, unfortunately. I watched it once myself, and then I made, I didn't make a class I was teaching watch it, but I put it on. I told people they could leave if they didn't want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And they watched it, and very few people, I mean, you know, the class of meat eaters and vegans, vegetarians, very few people could see for the tears.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And the thing is just, you know, the video is full of real footage. It's, you know, it's not an exaggeration of what really happens. It's what really does happen, period.
But, I mean, even though you have this very visceral reaction, the reaction is good, I think.
Yeah.
Because it shows that you're a feeling, thinking being, and this stuff should bother you. What I don't understand is the people who watch the video and they're not bothered by it.
Well,
or they claim not to be.
Everyone's bothered by it some.
Right.
You can watch this video and it's impossible not to be bothered by it. The question is, how deep is the ability of someone to continually ignore the little part of them that is bothered by it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, how big is the part of the person that's bothered by it? For some people,
Mm-hmm.
it's so big that they can't ever
can't
eat
ignore
meat
it,
again
yeah.
or eat dairy or eggs, right?
Mm-hmm.
They look at that and they go, holy fuck, I'm vegan from now on, period. Like,
Right.
it's like the transformative moment in their
Right.
life, right? But for some people, they might not eat a burger that day, but then they kind of get back into the whole scheme of it.
Right. They put up that block, like,
Right.
back up and not think about it. And so it's like they never watched it.
Yeah. It's like, I think the psychologists call it psychic numbing.
Yep.
You just you numb yourself to it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the interesting things also is that when I teach an introduction to sociology class, we talk about obedience and we talk about societal structures and norms. And, repeated social scientific experiments have been done that have showed something like 2/3 of people will blindly follow orders,
Mm-hmm.
regardless. Only 1/3 will really stand up and say, I think this is wrong. I think that is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of what's happening is that you've got 2/3 of people out there, at least, who will watch film like this and go, well, yeah, it's just the worst things. And, I like to eat meat. And what if I didn't eat meat? People think I was weird.
Yeah, and it's just the way it is. What can I do about it?
Yeah, you hear that one a lot. It's just the way it is. But it is sad. And I'm actually really, I can kind of feel Amber's pain listening to it.
Yeah, I know.
Because I've watched it and it really sucks. I mean, it's a great film to show someone, but they're going to think you're an animal rights fundamentalist if you show them. I've been called a fundamentalist repeatedly. I'm used to it, but I don't know. And as for wanting to escape to like that vegan place,
Yeah,
I hear you.
A lot of
sometimes.
us want to go there.
Except a lot of vegans I know are really insane.
Well, yeah. But anyway.
Good topic change.
Yeah. But a lot of people also want to be like, no, we should stay in the world and help make other people see these things and
Absolutely.
realize that veganism is okay and good and acceptable and definitely doable. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So you just
Although,
need to share.
It would be cool to be able to do vegan freak radio and not have to talk about veganism. Wouldn't it? I mean, imagine. Imagine
yeah.
if veganism were already a solved problem. Everyone were vegan, and we would just have the Bob and Jenna show.
Is us rambling about what?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought I had the Bob and Jenna show in here somewhere. Where did I put that? Oh, well.
But anyway. And you had a lot of your decision to be a surgeon. That is a tough one.
Yeah. I hear you on that.
And for that, I would ask our listeners, does anybody know?
Go to Britain.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I remember having read in research I was doing for my book is that I was under the impression that they didn't require it.
But are there med schools in the U.S. that have gotten away from those things?
I don't know.
remember
Someone
reading?
probably knows.
I'm
If
sure
you know,
someone knows,
let us
yes.
know. But she's not. If that's the same Amber from several weeks ago, she's in Alberta,
Oh,
isn't she?
that's a different Amber, isn't it?
I think it's the same Amber.
No.
There are a lot of vegan Ambers. I'm pretty sure it's the same Amber though. The Amber who was a Christian.
Oh, that Amber. I'm thinking of different Amber.
No.
She's from a different part of Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm getting all my Canadian Ambers mixed up.
We have 2 Canadian Ambers who call the show and leave voicemails on occasion. No, I'm pretty sure. But in any case, maybe in Canada it's not an issue, but it probably is. Who the hell knows?
But I think I remember it. Anyway, there are probably ways to get around it, but they're not easy.
Yeah, you know who knows a lot about this? G Fizzle.
Ah, yes.
Gary Francione. So he used to know. I mean, he used to actually work on cases like that.
Right. So if you know, send us an email or a voicemail or whatever. Let us know on the forums, and we'll relay the information. Okay.
We will indeed.
Yes.
We're good at that.
Okay.
Bob and Jenna.
That's us.
That is us indeed. And then there's another. Wait.
Bob, Jenna. Woo!
There's that one. And then there's one more. Hold on.
Bob and Jenna show with Happy Meat, and they're not vegan.
We are vegan.
We just say not vegan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on here.
Hey, Bob and Jenna, thank you so much for your Kick Tuchis podcast. Oh, and your book was a total godsend. I just can't thank you enough. I actually initially came to veganism, well, honestly, for kind of selfish nutritional reasons. I'm only 17, but I was diagnosed with some pretty not so glamorous gastrointestinal issues that I'd like to totally avoid talking about. And, it's really revolutionized my whole outlook on life and everything, and thank you so much for all your advice. I'm actually an organic macrobiotic vegan. I initially got into macrobiotics and then just totally ruled out the very little fish that's in macrobiotics and became vegan, but since then it's really been for more ethical and humane reasons. And I just had a question. My family is, they always ate organically and grain-fed happy meat, not. But
Happy meat!
The only thing that they really fight me on, and I guess I cannot perhaps find the right way to explain to them why it's not a very happy and joyous thing to eat, is wild fish. They don't understand why I don't eat wild fish. In their mind, fish are just happy little beings that, are not being factory farmed or anything of that like. So, in my mind, I can see all the reasons why it's major detriment to the environment and destroys so many things, but I'd really like to hear from you what would be, in your opinion, a really good way to approach the subject when they sort of antagonize me. But they've been pretty good about it so far. Their only concerns about me just keeping on weight, because I'm like 90 pounds, so they get worried, which I'm just kind of naturally this way, and I can't believe, since I've been vegan, I've eaten so much. You can eat huge quantities when it's healthy, and, well, since I'm macrobiotic, it's also pretty imbalanced, although I have a semi-addiction to maple syrup, but that's okay. So, I just wanted to thank you guys, and, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.
Okay. So, why avoid wild fish? Let us count the reasons.
Yeah, really.
All right. I mean, first off, apart from the issue of mercury and other contaminants in fish, from a health perspective.
Yeah. I mean, any freshwater fish is downright dangerous to eat.
Even wild saltwater fish have elevated levels of different kinds of pollutants.
Of course.
Which is incredibly sad when you think about it. I mean, not that I want people to eat fish, but it's really sad that the oceans are so polluted that the fish are literally accumulating toxins in their flesh.
Right.
So
and then
sad.
if you eat them, you accumulate them in even greater concentrations.
Yep.
The oceans are being overfished.
That's right. There was a report, I'm looking for it right now online.
Okay.
I should have done this before the show, but I forgot. Basically says that something like we have 50 years left before we outfish.
Yeah.
We outfish the ocean.
Outfish the ocean.
Yeah.
The oceans.
Right. And many of the major fishery stocks, as they're often called, which is another problematic term, are actually in decline. So these are issues that are certainly worth talking about when it comes to being a responsible member of this planet and not consuming fish. Right? I mean, we're fishing the oceans out. We're overdoing it by a long shot. So that's another thing.
Okay. You don't need fish to live. You don't need to eat fish to be healthy.
Absolutely not. And of course, fish suffer. I mean, there's no question about it. Fish feel pain. There is significant arguments to be made that they are, in fact, sentient.
And I've recently seen a study where if they do feel the fish hooks, they have a lot of nerve receptors around their mouth, so they feel the pain.
Yep.
And of course, they have a central nervous system, and so they are sentient and can feel pain and experience pain, much like any other animal that has the similar nervous system.
Yep.
And besides, if they think that they're so such happy, wonderful creatures swimming around out there, why would they want to kill them?
Well, that's it. That's it. I mean, I think they are,
Just let them be.
Let them be. So I don't think there are many good arguments to be made for eating fish, actually. And I'm looking for this article now. Damn, it's annoying me. I can't find it. But anyway, there was this good article, but kind of a one-page thing in Wired that showed just, in fact, how much the fisheries were being overfished. It was in this month's magazine. There was also some stuff in Newsweek not long ago about this.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you Google around, it is not difficult to find plenty of information about how the global fisheries are being overfished.
Right.
And the problems with it.
Right.
So those are a couple big things right there.
Yeah, and of course, if you're vegan, you don't want to eat any animal.
That's right.
Regardless of what it looks like.
Well, that's
or
it.
Where it's swimming or where it lives.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, if you can make the argument, of course, is that you're a vegan because you believe animals should. I mean, you said that you started out as kind of in some health issues, but you moved into it for ethical reasons. And if in fact you are being motivated by ethical reasons, you need to make clear that there are ethical reasons that you won't eat a fish because a fish is in fact an animal.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
All right.
All right. Let's move on. This one's from Jill.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. My name's Jill. I'm from Ottawa, Ontario in Canada. I am a newly converted vegan as of January 1st, 2007, a New Year's resolution. I was previously a vegetarian for 2 years, which was also done through a New Year's resolution. I find that that's a good way to make changes in life. Anyway, going vegan is a great idea any day of the year. But that's
Absolutely.
not why I'm calling. I'm calling because I just had some really, really, really great hummus. Probably the best hummus I've ever had. And it was a recipe from your show. It's the recipe that Dino shared with us that had non-fat cooking spray, sesame seeds, cumin seeds, roasted chickpeas, garlic, a little bit of lemon juice, and a little bit of water. And it was so good. I had a flaxseed tortilla wrap with hummus and avocado and tomatoes and mushrooms and red pepper, and I was so excited to eat it that I forgot the last ingredient, which was lettuce. Probably the most boring, but I was so excited to eat it, and it was really, really good. Anyway, I love your guys' show. I listen to it every week, and it really makes the Saturday and Sunday workouts go smooth. So keep up the good work, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jill.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think that I'm hungry, which is. Let's keep moving through the voicemail.
Right. Not think about food. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, thank you, Jill.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure Dino appreciates that.
Dino much appreciates it. And his hummus recipes are quite good.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I don't think are for it. Hey, Bob and Jenna, it's Carly. I was just wondering, if you had your own cow and you didn't inseminate it or anything, would it be okay to milk it and
I'll leave the insemination of the animals up to Peter Singer.
drink it? And what about chickens? If you had your own chickens, and it was, safe, do you think that you could eat eggs? Not that I would. I don't think are for A. And I'm vegan. Been vegan for a few months now, and your podcast has really helped me. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, this is what I have to say about consuming things.
Vegans don't eat eggs.
Yeah, so the answer to that would be no.
No, I wouldn't.
Well, A, if you don't inseminate the cows, then they don't have babies, and then they don't give milk.
Well, there you
Just
go.
like humans. Like, I don't give milk because I've never had a kid.
So, but but if we had a cow in the backyard, would you drink the milk?
No.
Okay. And why not?
Because it's
But the
not
cow's not
vegan.
suffering, Jenna.
Because the milk is for the baby cows.
There you go.
And it's not for me.
I agree. And what about the eggs? They would just go to waste.
We feed them back to the chickens.
Well, there you go. That's what they do at most sanctuaries. I would not have any part of consuming those things. And the reasons why, first off, there is the symbolic importance of being a vegan, which it sends a message that you are, on principle, objecting to the consumption of all animal products because it shows a form of human dominance over animals. Secondly, if you begin consuming animal products like that, you are in fact taking part in what I see as a problematic relationship between you as the owner of the animal and the animal as a producer of a commodity for your consumption.
Mm-hmm.
Third, I don't know. There are a lot of different ways to go with it. So
they're really, really bad for you.
They're bad for you.
There you go.
Yeah. So I believe all of those reasons together are the reasons that I would not consume those things. Primarily the ethical reasons, however.
Of course.
And, I'm people who have sanctuaries normally, I would think about places where they have chickens and the sanctuaries vegan. They don't eat the eggs.
No, they don't.
So, and there's no reason to. So that's the straightforward answer.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. This is Francesca from New York City. I just wanted to thank you for the podcast with that article about fur is humane. I've been having problems with low blood pressure lately, to the point of getting dizzy. And now all I have to do is listen to that part of the podcast, and it raises my blood pressure and gets rid of the dizziness. I also want to thank you for the part of your book about vegan condoms, because I didn't know where to get them, and my new boyfriend didn't even know there was such a thing. So you actually greatly contributed to my happiness. So I want to thank you. Bye.
We're always happy to Vegan Freak Radio, good for your sex life as well. Actually, it's our book. But yes, vegan condoms, very easy to get from places like Cosmos.
Yep. Yeah, and probably New York City. You can get them in New York City. I'm
Probably,
sure somewhere.
I would think.
Kondami or Glide.
Glide, yep. There you go. Okay. Vegan condoms. So, and I'm glad we're able to help you with your medical condition as well.
Yeah, really.
What's up, Bob and Jenna? This is James again from LA. James the big vegan on the forums. I was online today, and I do a lot of business travel, and found a website that I think some other vegans might be interested in. It's this website called selectwisely.com, SELECTWISELY, and it was started to help people that travel get translation cards that you can order that are laminated, and they've got all the foods that you don't eat or you're, quote, allergic to, whatever's easier in that particular instance, whatever restaurant you happen to be in. They don't understand vegan, but they typically will jump at the chance to help somebody who's allergic to milk. So once again, it's Select Wisely, and looks like it might be good for people that travel or those of us that don't feel like trying to explain to another person what veganism is at that point in time. So, all right, have a good one. Peace.
Good stuff.
Yep, good to know, especially if you aren't all that familiar with the language.
Okay, trucking onward.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Jenna. This is Lonnie. I'm back in New Orleans, sitting through traffic as always, but I have your show to keep me sane. I had a question. Okay, I only went vegan back, I believe, in September, but I've been vegetarian since June of last year. So it's kind of new to me, and I'm, still goofing up and making mistakes, but I'm doing my best.
That's the way you go.
The biggest problem I have being in New Orleans is this time of year, everybody has crawfish boils.
Oh, boy.
So I'm having a little problem with that because my family's all like, well, last year you came, this year you should at least come. You can eat some corn, you can eat some potatoes. And I'm like, well, that was cooked with the crawfish. And I don't know how to explain to them that it really offends me to watch them pour these living creatures into boiling hot water, probably screaming inside with pain. And they don't understand. I've tried explaining to them my veganism, and they go out and buy me organic stuff from Whole Foods thinking that, oh, it says organic. It must be something that that Lonnie would eat.
But that's thoughtful.
So it's kind of funny, but not really. But I just want some advice if you can give me some. How can I put it through their skulls that I'm not going to go and witness that? And they take it as a personal insult that at least I can go. And it's just, I would be upset the entire time. I'd be depressed. I'd be watching it, and I don't want to deal with it. So any advice would be great. Thanks a lot. I love your show, and hopefully I can be a better vegan from listening to it. Bye.
Well, thanks, Lonnie. And, it's important to go vegan, but as you first go vegan, sometimes you stumble on things. You buy something you think is vegan, and it's not. You don't realize till after you've eaten it. I mean, shit like that happens, right? Mm-hmm. So don't be too hard on yourself. I'm not, by the way, I'm not a pseudo-vegan. I'm not suggesting that people should willingly eat animal products before the emails come pouring in. I'm just simply saying that every so often when you first go vegan, there are things you miss.
Accidents happen.
And that, to be proactive about it is good. You shouldn't beat yourself up over it. You should recognize what happened and move on. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm trying to promote a healthy attitude towards veganism. Okay?
Okay.
But in terms of the family issue, man, that's complicated. It depends on your family. It sounds to me, though, like if they're going out and buying you stuff, even if it's not vegan stuff, they buy you something and they buy it from Whole Foods, right? Mm-hmm. And you know what I think of Whole Foods, but people always think of Whole Foods as kind of a place where they have like vegan, healthy food, right? Despite the fact that they have tons and tons and tons of
happy meat.
And but if they're actually interested enough and they're thinking of you enough to go buy you things like that, you should try. I think you can probably make it clear to them, your feelings. Sit down with them and tell them. I know this might sound weird to you. Mm-hmm. I know this is a little odd. I know you think this is crazy. But it bothers me to see that.
Yeah.
And I'd prefer to be with you in a situation where I don't have to see that. And it's not about you. It's about me.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure they see that you're not doing it just so you don't want to hang out with them, and you're not being offensive.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand because it's what you've always done. So why aren't you doing it this year, right? So like you said, and they want to provide for you. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
They want to make you happy, and I think they just don't know what to do to make you happy. So maybe suggest, maybe let's get together some other time, and when we can have, you can bring some good vegan food for them, and they can make you a bunch of stuff. Maybe you can give them some recipes. So it's not under the circumstances. And like Bob said, I think you should just explain to them, like, look, it doesn't look like this to you, but to me, it's just very disturbing.
Yeah. And they may find it funny, or they may not get it right away, but I think in time they'll get used to it.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your family's patient enough with it. The thing that's difficult about food, I mean, this is really the problem with food in general, is that it isn't just the shit we eat, right? It has cultural importance. It has symbolic importance. It is a kind of marker of love, and it is communicated through relationships. So food is really secondary to the kind of social processes that are going on behind the food itself. And so I imagine that these boils that she talks about are, places where people get together and actually hang out, drink beer, eat the crawfish and all the other stuff. And it serves that social function. So that's going to be something that's difficult, is not, they don't really care if you're there to eat the fish, right? But they're like, well, they're going to miss you. It's a social function. So if there's some way you can kind of fill in that social function for them, that might help. I don't know, though. It depends on your family. It's so hard to know, to read anything in particular. But I would think that, it sounds like they're pretty open to it. And I think you could probably work from that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
If other people out there from the area where Lonnie's at have particular advice around this issue, let us know. I think, it's a similar issue to the pig roast. A lot of people I wouldn't go to a pig roast.
No, I couldn't.
There's no way. I would not go. There is no way. I wouldn't go to a crawfish boil either. A pig roast I definitely wouldn't go to. If I were invited to one of those.
Yeah.
So, yep. All right. Next in line.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm a vegan. I love your show, and I wanted to read you something that came from the PETA 2 website a few months ago about the results for the Cutest Vegetarians Alive contest.
We didn't win?
Which, like most things from PETA, made me incredibly angry.
Me too.
The male winner for the 2007 contest was Jed Martin, age 22, in Hohenfels, Germany. And this is his bio. A native of Vermont, this army man became a vegetarian after playing in bands in the punk and metal scenes for almost 8 years, during which time he was surrounded by vegetarians. Living in the barracks in Germany, Jed is now surrounded by people cooking meat, but he keeps his fridge stocked with Boca burgers and has tricked some people into eating them. And they've asked him to make the burgers more often. Jed is always wearing PETA or vegan shirts around the base to promote animal rights. He served a year in Iraq and said companies like Vegan Essentials made it possible for him to be vegan in the army. Okay, this guy is pretty fucking ugly, but that's not the point. First, this is ridiculous when juxtaposed with a quote from one PETA publication. The military sickens and wounds animals with radiation, chemical agents, and bullets, even though the effects of these methods of warfare are already well documented. And a vegan can't kill animals or support the killing of animals. Human beings are sentient animals just like any other.
That's right.
Animals, including humans, are not ours to exploit or harm in any way. Being a member of the military and thus condoning the killing of human and non-human animals, in my opinion, is not compatible with a compassionate vegan lifestyle. How can this bastard support the killing of over 70,000 Iraqi civilians but claim to be against cruelty to animals? So, yeah, it made me pretty angry, and I thought you would like to hear. So, thanks, and keep up the good work.
Excellent voicemail, Nick. Nick, you and I, we have to talk. You've got a problem. PETA doesn't have a problem. You have a problem, Nick.
Yeah.
And the problem you have is this, is that you expect logical consistency. You expect that this organization has principles and that they're going to follow those principles through from one position to another. When in fact, I think it is patently obvious that PETA doesn't really have any principles. They may have one principle, and that principle is to generate attention and to bring money to their fucking organization. That's what I think. And PETA does this repeatedly. They gave a Backbone Award a Backbone Award, Strongest Backbone Award in 2005, I believe, to Pat Buchanan. Now, if any of you out there don't know who Pat Buchanan is, let me tell you. He is a man who wants to build a wall between Mexico and the United States. He thinks that illegal immigrants who have children in the United States, those children become U.S. citizens. He thinks that citizenship should be revoked. He is against rights for LGBT people. He's also promoted Holocaust deniers. You know, this is the kind of person who is a right-wing, right of George Bush, that PETA gets behind. And they say, oh, this guy has a strong backbone because he supported Matthew Scully, who was a speechwriter for George W. Bush, and his stupid fucking book, Dominion. Okay? So they get behind this guy and promote him. When Pat Buchanan has a disastrous agenda for humanity, for a particular kind of animal called human. You know, like in that quote you read from PETA, humans suffer too. Now, what the hell? We're supposed to embrace someone that causes ass loads of human suffering and, you know, and ignore all that in because they promoted an animal cause once?
I don't think the quote said that humans suffer too.
Oh, he said that.
Yeah.
I see. I'm sorry. I was getting like Francesca. I was having the blood pressure moment. But he's right. Nick is right then that humans suffer as well. So do I think that it's hypocritical of PETA to argue that we shouldn't make animals suffer and then promote someone who is in fact in the business of killing other human beings? Absolutely. I think that's wrong. But PETA is opportunist. They will use any situation they can to get attention. And I guarantee you, I bet that guy is fucking hideous. I have no idea what he looks like. I haven't seen him. I bet he's fucking hideous. And I bet he's fucking hideous. And I bet they picked him not because he's attractive or not because he's a vegan or not because of any of that shit, but because of the points that they think they're going to win by siding with the jingoistic, bellicose motherfuckers in this country who love the war. That's why they're doing it. They're not doing it for any fucking animal cause. They're doing it because they think that it's going to help make their organization more popular with the right-wing fuckers who run this place.
And because he wears PETA shirts around the barracks, so of course that points in with them.
Of course.
Right,
but I agree with Nick. I think it's a problematic... I'm going to see a picture of this guy. Is he really ugly?
I don't know. I didn't look.
You didn't look?
No.
How could you
the fuck do I care?
Are they sexiest vegetarians? Is that what they are?
Yeah, I don't know. PETA 2.
PETA2.com. All right, go ahead. Play the next voicemail. Let's see. You seem annoyed with me, Jenna.
Nope.
Okay. This is Tash.
Hello, Bob and Jenna. It's Tash calling here from Australia. I just wanted to call and say hello. And I didn't really have a purpose for this call. I just wanted to call because I want to be on the show. Okay, bye. Hi, it's Tash again. Sorry for my short call just then. I just also wanted to say that being vegan is the best. Okay, bye.
All right.
Well, we did ask for voicemails from our Australian and UK listeners, so there we go.
There you go.
We got one.
Very good. So
thank you.
I can't find a picture of this guy.
I don't know.
Well, you're on the show, so anyway, we love to hear from everybody.
Yeah.
Jenna, I can tell you're hungry.
No, I'm fine. I'm hot, actually.
It is hot in here.
You have the hottest office this is the hottest room in the house.
It is.
All the others are actually quite nice. There's some air moving through. Not in here.
No. That'd be why I'm sticking to the chair.
Yeah, it would be.
It is. It's not that hot here, but you know.
No, it's humid actually is the problem.
It's hot. It's humid.
Anyway.
I think we're done.
Oh, okay. Cool. I thought there were more.
I don't see any more.
Okay, cool.
Am I missing
I don't know.
something?
Well, I can't see the screen. Well, I don't know. Now I can't.
Am I missing any?
No.
Okay. These are all the voicemails over here.
Okay.
This is a song that's playing right now.
Okay.
This is our...
Coming to you.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Yes, I see. All
Cool.
right.
Okay. So anyway, that's it for this week of Vegan Proof Radio. We're going out of town next week, but we'll be back the week after that. So we have to take a week off. And I want to apologize. Our show, if this is your first time listening to our show, if you've gotten this far through the show, we're not usually quite this... I don't know. I think we're just hot and kind of like, hungry and...
Tired.
Wine. Anyway, we'll be back again. Not next week, but the week after that. So hang in there. come over to our forums, say hi to us, send us email, send us voicemail, go on the site, leave us voicemail, 267-295-1944, put it on your refrigerator door, show at veganfreeradio.com.
I think that's about it.
That's about it. So,
Cool.
go ahead.
Nothing.
What'd you
Bye.
say?
I just said cool.
Cool?
Okay.
All right, we're going to go make dinner.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Ba 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 Jenna. Woo!